Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Panchakalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, so in the previous class, what are the concepts that Krishna explained in the three modes of material nature? What did we see? So we need to refresh our memories. Okay. See, in the first class of chapter 18, we saw how Krishna mentions 6 objects, no? 3 objects, which are the 3 factors that motivate action, and 3 constituents of action. So then these 6 he reduced to 3. And he went on to elaborate 3 items. What are the 3 items that he elaborated? Knowledge, action, and performer of action. So Jnana, Karma, and Karta. He explained Jnana, Karma, and Karta in the 3 modes. Other than that, he explained understanding and determination in the three modes of material nature. And finally, he explained happiness in the three modes. So, what is happiness in the mode of goodness? Does anybody remember? It appears like what in the beginning and like what at the end. Mode of goodness, happiness in the mode of goodness.
In the beginning, it is like poison, but at the end, it is just like a nectar.
Exactly. So happiness in the beginning may be just like poison. So in the beginning, when we start off sadhana bhakti in our spiritual life, we may face some difficulties, we may face some challenges. But if we stick on to it with determination, constantly engage in our sadhana bhakti satatam, then it will be nectar in the end. But happiness in the mode of passion is, it appears like what in the beginning?
Pleasure.
Yes,
It
it
appears
appears like pleasure, no? It appears like nectar in the beginning. It gives us a lot of pleasure, but in the end, it will only bring us pain. So
Pain.
when somebody is taking, say, when somebody is engaged in sense gratificatory activities, sinful activities, like say somebody is taking drugs, he feels like he's on a high, no? He feels this is great. He's on the top of the world. He feels very, very ecstatic taking those drugs. But then later on, it will only bring him more pain and misery. And what is happiness in the mode of ignorance?
In the ignorance, it is delusion from the beginning till end.
Yes, there is no nectar neither in the beginning nor in the end. It is only delusion because people in the mode of ignorance, they love to sleep. So they are in the mode of ignorance. So that is characterized by sleep, laziness, and illusion. And then Krishna concluded this section by saying that nobody, neither here on this planetary system, neither the demigods in the higher planetary systems, are free from the modes of material nature. So all of us are under the modes of material nature. But by sadhana bhakti, we can raise ourselves, no, by the correct habits, by sadhana bhakti, by chanting the holy name, by following the four regular principles, we can raise our consciousness from the lower modes to the higher modes. So today we have to start from 41 onwards. Who can read today? Oh, I didn't welcome all of you to the classes. I'm sorry. So we have with us here Venkatesh, Radhe, Auntie Neeta, Neha Chatlani, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. We have Karuna, Meenakshi, Ritu Lalwani, Divya, Dipti Adnani. My parents are there. Then we have Lal and Mehak Milwani, Manju, Disha Milwani. We have Saket, Swapna, Beena Dadlani, and Khushbu. So thank you very much for joining. So this would be our third last class in the Bhagavad Gita course. This class and one more class, we will finish the Bhagavad Gita of Krishna Source Sanctions. And we will have one more class to summarize the last 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And with that, we are done with this course by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Okay, who can read today?
Mataji, I want to read.
Okay, thank you, Neha. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, so we are continuing with the yoga ladder. If you may recall, the yoga ladder begins with karma kanda, where one is acting according to the shastras, but is doing it to get something in return. No, so one is attached to the fruits. Then after karma kanda comes karma yoga, where one does his activities according to scriptures, but he is detached. He is not attached to the fruits of action. Now, karma yoga, there are two, sakama and nishkama. In sakama, one is still attached to the fruits of one's work, but in nishkama, one is completely detached to the fruits of one's labor. So when one engages in karma yoga with detachment, according to Shastras, then one undergoes a purificatory process. So then one can advance even more and one comes to the level of jnana yoga. So one is now so detached. No, say in karma yoga, one begins with the detachment. But by the time one is completely detached, then one comes to the next level of jnana yoga. In jnana yoga, one is ready to leave home and engage in study of the Shastras, intensive study of the Shastras, and therefore one gains knowledge along with detachment and scriptures. Then, as one increases in knowledge here, what happens here in Jnana Yoga? One attains the Brahman realization. Brahman realization, to realize that particular aspect of God or of the absolute truth, where one realizes that God is a light. No, God is a light. And as one advances in Jnana Yoga, the next stage is Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga. One engages in deep meditation. Deep meditation. And here, if one is successful in Dhyana Yoga, this is also called as the Ashtanga Yoga process, no, the 8 steps. So if one is successful in that Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, then one can realize the Paramatma, or that aspect of the absolute truth where God is the super soul residing in the heart of every living entity, and one can actually see the super soul. Right now, we cannot see the super soul. We know that he exists, but we cannot see him. But one who is successful in this Dhyana Yoga process, he can, at the end of his his I don't know what to say. At the end of his success in the Dhyana Yoga, then he can see the super soul. And then when one sees the super soul, the form of the Lord is so beautiful, so captivating, that one wants to again see the Lord. One wants to have a more personal connection with the Lord, because one can, in Dhyana Yoga, one can see the super soul, but there is no interaction. No, there is no, you cannot have a personal, intimate relationship with the Lord. You see him, and that's for a few moments. No, this is what Dhruva got. Dhruv Maharaj, he 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 did Dhyana Yoga, and within 6 months he was able to see the super soul face to face. But then I'm sorry, not Dhruv, but Narada Muni. Narada Muni, he engaged in this, and he was able to see. Narada Muni in his previous life was the son of a maid servant, and he was able to see the super soul. But then after that, he was so captivated by the beautiful form of the Lord that he was hankering to see the form again. No, so then he had to engage in bhakti yoga, and because of bhakti yoga, what one develops is love for the Lord. So now, because there is intimacy, and one can actively render service to the Lord. See, wherever there is service, there is love. No, the child gets attracted to the mother. The child is more intimately united to the mother because the mother does service to the child. No, so wherever there is service, or even in a marriage, no, the husband serves the wife serves the husband. So wherever there is love, there has to be service. So because one can actively render devotional service, one can attain success in bhakti yoga. Here, one realizes the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth, or God as a person. God as a person. God is a person at the end of the day. Yes, he is the Paramatma. That is not, it's not that it is false, it is true. He is the light, no? But ultimately, he is a person. That person, that Bhagavan, he expands as the super soul, he expands as a Paramatma. And Brahman is the light that is emanating from the body of the Lord. No, it is the light that is emanating from Krishna's body. So if one stops at Jnana Yoga realization and he says that God is a light, it's not false, but if he says God is only a light, there is an error. Because how can you say that I believe in the sunshine, but I do not believe in the sun? Because the source of that sunshine is the sun. In the same way, the source of that light is Krishna. So this is the yoga ladder. And what Krishna is going to do now, he's going to talk about, he's going to progress from Sakama to Nishkama Karma Yoga. So when he talks about Nishkama Karma Yoga, he's talking about occupational work. So when he talks about occupational work, we know how Krishna said previously that he is the creator of the Varnashram system. Now, what's the Varnashram system? A combination of the 4 Varnas and the 4 Ashramas. What are the 4 Varnas? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And what are the 4 Ashramas? Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So these two together, they are called as a Varnashram system. This is the original caste system of our society. What is there in the modern day times, the so-called caste system, is only a corrupted version. Now it has completely broken down. But the caste system that Krishna created is the division of society according to one's work. No, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they all have their occupational duties, their work, and the stages of life that one is in, whether one is a Brahmacharya or Kshatriya or a Vanaprastha or a Sannyas. So, a combination of these two is the Varnashram system. So, here, when Krishna is going to go from Sakama to Nishkama, he's actually going to talk about this Varnashram system and the duties of every ashram. This is what we will see in this section. Let us hear the shloka.
ब्राह्मणक्षत्रियविशां शूद्राणां च परन्तप कर्माणि प्रविभक्तानि स्वभावप्रभवैर्गुणैः.
Translation: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, O chaster of the enemy.
So see, Krishna again repeats what he has said before, that how can you distinguish if one is a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya Shudra, not by birth, but by the qualities born of their own nature. So if one has the qualities of a Brahmana and one does the work of a Brahmana, then he should be respected and considered to be a Brahmana. Same with Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras. In a perfect Varnashram society, all 4 are important and all 4 should be respected. No, because the work of a Shudra is also important in our society. Brahmanas are the teachers of the society. Kshatriyas are the protectors of the society. Vaishyas are the business class. And Shudras are the worker class. So in a society, we need teachers. We also need people who will protect us. No, we need our defense forces. We need the police. We need them. We need the business class, because how are we going to get our products? How are we going to get our goods? And we also need Shudras, because who is going to do the work? Who's going to do the labor? So nobody can say that if Shudras don't exist in society, then still the society can work. No, they are all important. The contribution of all 4 of them are very, very important for the society. Otherwise, it will be considered to be, the society will be considered to be a handicap. So Krishna again, he says that how can you identify someone as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is by the qualities born of their own nature. It's not birth. If somebody is born in a Brahmin family, but he is acting in a demoniac way, we cannot respect him and we cannot consider him to be a Brahmana. A Brahmana should behave like a Brahmana. He should have the qualities of a Brahmana. Okay, so it's not birth that determines. So here you have the 4 Varnas. Now, he is giving us the qualities of a Brahmana.
शमोदमस्तपः शौचं शान्तिरार्जवमेव च ज्ञानं विज्ञानमास्तिक्यं ब्रह्मकर्म स्वभावजम्.
Translation: Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work.
So how many qualities here Krishna is enlisting of the Brahmanas? How many qualities are there?
9.
9, yes, 9 qualities. No, so see, these qualities are very important for anyone who's a teacher of the rest of the society. No, a teacher should be peaceful. He should be self-control. He should be austere. He should be pure, tolerant, honest, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. Because these are the qualities that he has to have in order to teach the rest of the society. And see this word here, Swabhavajam. Swabhavajam means born of his own nature. So it is the nature, a Brahmana by nature has these qualities. Now, if somebody does not have these qualities, then what does it mean?
He's not a Brahmana.
He
He's
can't
not
be.
a Brahmana. Yes, exactly. He is not a Brahmana. Doesn't matter whether he's born in a Brahmana family. But one can develop these qualities with sadhana, and one can advance. One can advance in one's spiritual life and go beyond the modes. See, Brahmanas are in the mode of goodness. Kshatriyas are in the mode of passion. Vaishyas are in the mixed modes of passion and ignorance. And Shudras are in the mode of ignorance. No, but one can rise by sadhana bhakti from the lower modes to the higher modes and attain actually which mode? The transcendental mode of goodness. Transcendental mode of goodness, which is the Shuddha Sattva stage, which is even beyond the mode of goodness. That is the potency of Krishna consciousness. Okay, anyway, now Krishna is going to mention the qualities of a Kshatriya, the protectors of the society.
शौर्यं तेजो धृतिर्दाक्ष्यं युद्धे चाप्यपलायनं दानमीश्वरभावश्च क्षात्रं कर्म स्वभावजम्.
Translation: Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas.
So, if one has heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership, then one can be a good Kshatriya. Then one can be able to protect the society. If he does not, if he is not heroic, he is not powerful, he does not have courage, etc., then how can he protect us? No. So these are the qualities of a Kshatriya. So Krishna here is mentioning 7 qualities of a Kshatriya. Again, he uses the word Swabhavajam. Now let's see Vaishyas and Shudras.
कृषि गोरक्ष्य वाणिज्यं वैश्यकर्म स्वभावजम् परिचर्यात्मकं कर्म शूद्रस्यापि स्वभावजम्.
Translation: Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras, there are labor and services to others.
So 3 qualities for the Vaishyas and 1 quality he is mentioning for the Shudras, the worker class. No, so they have to serve. So say for the Vaishyas, farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas. Again, he uses Swabhavajam for the Vaishyas and Swabhavajam for the Shudras. So why cow protection? Of all the animals, why only cow protection? Why is it not animal protection?
Cows, because
Cow is
it
the
gives us milk and it nourishes us and it gives us nice, intelligent brain when we drink the cow's milk.
Yes, very
It's
nice.
supported by
Cow's milk.
Brahmins.
Yes, cow's milk contains substances that are very, very important for the development of the finer brain tissues. No, and the Brahmanas, I mean, Brahmana, Kshatriyas, anybody who is studying Shastras, previously they would go to the Gurukul and they would receive training under the bona fide spiritual master. So to study the Shastra, one needs to consume cow's milk for the development of the finer brain tissues. Any other reason?
Yeah, but after mother's milk, they use a cow milk.
Yes, mother's milk is closest to the cow's milk. In case the mother passes away, the child can survive on the cow's milk. What about the modern day formula milk, the powdered milk that comes in these boxes? What about that? Does that replace the mother's milk?
No, that's very contaminated and it has symptoms inside of it that makes you actually unhealthy.
So what is it in the cow's milk that is not there in any other milk?
Cow's milk is very pure. It's natural. It's organic.
Okay, and what is it? And if one has a choice between cow's milk and the mother's milk, then which should one choose?
I think
First
cow's
mother's milk,
is-
then cow's milk.
Yes, in case the mother does not survive or she has passed away, then we can use cow's milk for the children. But best milk is mother's milk, right? See, the formula milk that you get, if you see the labels, it has a certain proportion. No? So certain minerals and vitamins in certain proportion, it is there. It is written. The thing with mother's milk is every time the mother's milk is tested, the composition of that milk changes. It's not the same. It's not the same. But the ones that are made in factories, they always will maintain the same proportion, right? So the thing with mother's milk is the composition changes depending on what are the requirements of the child. When there is skin contact between the mother and the child during when the child is taking the mother's milk, because of that skin contact, the mother's body calculates what is it that this child needs in his body in what proportion. So that's the reason why every time mother's milk is tested, the composition changes. And therefore, they cannot copy that mother's milk in a factory because they can make in a certain proportion, but they cannot make in a proportion which that particular child requires. No, so that's the beauty of mother's milk. That the mother's body automatically calculates what is the mineral that the child lacks more and in what quantity. That's the glory of mother's milk. Okay, now coming back to the cow. Actually, cow is one of the 7 mothers of man. The Shastra explains how because not only if the mother passes away, the child survives, but all throughout our life we are having milk and milk products. No, out of milk, so many wonderful preparations are made: paneer and cream and ice creams and ghee and so many other preparations we make, and yogurt. No, so many preparations we can make because of the cow's milk. And cow is the only animal, as we have discussed before, who can give surplus milk more than what the calf requires. No other animal, not even the human being, can produce that quantity of milk that is enough for the entire world population. One cow on a single pregnancy can give milk up to 8 years also.
8 years.
Yes. So it's Krishna has made it like that, no? So that the cow gives excess milk and we can benefit from taking the cow's milk. So because all our life we are surviving on the cow's milk, therefore cow is one of our 7 mothers, and therefore cow is very, very important for our society. So what are the 7 mothers? Atma Mata, Guru Patni. Atma Mata means one's own mother. Then Guru Patni means the wife of the Guru. Why the wife of the Guru? Is because when the child goes to the Gurukul and he's under a bona fide spiritual master, the wife of that Guru, she takes care of the children as her own children. No, so the children, they will go and cut wood and they'll bring so that she can cook for all of them, like that. So therefore Guru Patni is one of our 7 mothers. Then Brahmani, also the wife of a Brahmana, for the same reason. Raja Patnika, the wife of a king. So the king is the father of the kingdom. No, he's the head. So he's considered to be a father. And therefore his wife, Raja Patnika, is also one of the 7 mothers. Therefore we have this term called Queen Mother. Queen Mother, from where they are calling her Queen Mother? It's coming from our Shastras only, Raja Patnika. Then Dhenu, the cow, we have already discussed. Then Dhatri, or the nurse, or the Dai, the Daima previously. When women would deliver, then the Dai would help in the delivery, and this Dai ma also would have that affection for the child like a mother. And in case the mother doesn't survive, most of these Dais, they would be lactating themselves. So if the mother dies, then they would give their milk to the child and they would raise the child like their own. And then Prithvi. Prithvi is the mother earth. That's why we say mother earth. That term also is coming from our Shastra only. Prithvi is our one of our 7 mothers. Why? Because the earth is giving us so many grains and crops are growing, fruits and vegetables, and we are nourishing ourselves because of Mother Earth. So therefore, these are the 7 mothers of man: Atma Mata, Guru Patni, Brahmani, Raja Patnika, Dhenu, Dhatri, Tatha Prithvi. Saptaita Matra Smritaha. Saptaita means 7. So these are the 7 mothers of man. Okay, now let's see what Krishna says, coming back to varnashram system.
स्वे स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः स्वकर्मनिरतः सिद्धिं यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु.
Translation: by following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done.
So what is Krishna saying here? He's saying everyone can become perfect by following the qualities of work. Just by following your work. No, if you have the qualities of Brahmana, you do the work of a Brahmana. Same with Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So Krishna is saying that just by following the quality of that work, every man can become perfect. You can attain perfection. Now please hear from me how. So how can we do this? That Krishna says he is going to explain. See, there are different types of varnashram system. One is the Vedic varnashram system by nature, what we are discussing. Then there is Asuri varnashram by body or birth, which is demoniac because it is not shastric. No, one cannot accept somebody as a brahmana because he's taken birth in the body of a brahmana, or by body because he's dressed in a particular way. One cannot accept somebody as a brahmana. So that is Asuri Varnashram because it is against the Shastra. And the other thing is Daivi Varnashram. Serve Krishna as per your Varna and get liberated from that Varna itself. Elevation of Varna to Brahmana is not required. So one does not have to elevate oneself from a Shudra to a Brahmana by doing the work of a Brahmana. By doing the work of a Shudra only, one can get elevated to the which level? The beyond the three modes level, which we just discussed a couple of minutes ago, to the transcendental mode of goodness, no, or the Shuddha Sattva stage. So these are the three types of Varnashram. See, in our scriptures, there's a story of Satyabhama Jabali and sage Gautama. And Satyabhama Jabali wanted to get educated from sage Gautam. And sage Gautam asked him, okay, but what is your lineage? Who is your father? What is your father's name? So he went to his mother and he asked his mother, what is my father's name? The mother said, I don't know what is your father's name. I only know that you are my son. So he goes back to the sage. He goes back to sage Gautama and tells him that this is the case. I don't know who is my father. I only know my mother's name. So that time sage Gautama said, you are a Brahmana and I will accept you as my disciple. Because truthfulness is one characteristic of a Brahmana. So he has that nature. This child, Satyabhama Jabali, has the nature of a Brahmana because he was truthful and he spoke the truth to sage Gautama. So he said no. So because of this quality, I can say that you are a Brahmana. See here, Prahlad, where Prahlad offered prayers to Lord Narasimhadev, he said, if a Brahmana has all 12 of the Brahmanical qualifications, so he's saying 12. How many qualifications that Krishna gave us of a Brahmana?
9.
9. But actually Prahlad is saying that there are 12. So if a Brahmana has all 12 of the Brahmanical qualifications, as they are stated in the book called Sanat Sujata, but is not a devotee and is averse to the lotus feet of the Lord, he is certainly lower than a devotee who is a dog eater, but who has dedicated everything, mind, words, activities, wealth, and life to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee is better than such a Brahmana because the devotee can purify his whole family, whereas the so-called Brahmana in a position of false prestige cannot purify even himself. So what kind of activities one is doing is what decides whether one is a Brahmana or not a Brahmana. So Krishna mentioned 9 and Prahlad says 12. So what are the 12? Here you can see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the 12 qualities of the Brahmana are mentioned. Mental equilibrium, sense control, austerity, cleanliness, tolerance, simplicity, detachment, theoretical and practical knowledge. Satisfaction, truthfulness, and firm faith in the Vedas are the 12 qualities of a Brahmin. So this is just extra information for you. Okay, let's see what Krishna says next.
यतः प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानां येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यर्च सिद्धिं विन्दति मानवः.
Translation: by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work.
By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, one can attain perfection. So how can one attain perfection? By doing the work of his particular varna, according to the nature that he has got, is by worshipping the Lord, Because we are all parts and parcels of Krishna, no? And because we are parts and parcels of Krishna, we cannot be there is no value to us independent of Krishna. Just like how if there is a big machine, no, and that machine has many nuts and bolts and many screws that are attached to the machine. Now there is meaning to those nuts and bolts, to those screws, only as long as they are attached to that machine. If one screw falls off from that machine, now does that screw have any value to it? No. So as long as that screw is attached to the machine, it has some utility. It has some value. So in the same way, as long as we are connected to the Lord, we have value to us. Otherwise, we will be only becoming cats and dogs in our next life. So therefore, and see, Krishna is Rishikesha. Srila Prabhupada explains how Krishna is Rishikesha. He is the master of the senses, master of the senses. And because he is the master of the senses, we should engage our senses in serving him, not in trying to gratify our own senses. So Krishna is saying that you can attain perfection by worshipping the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading. So we are coming from him, and he is also pervaded into each and every living entity as the super soul.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मा स्वनुष्ठितान् स्वभावनियतं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Translation: It's better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions.
So Krishna again repeats here what he has said before. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. So we have given the example of how Dronacharya previously, how he fought the war. He did the work of a Kshatriya, but actually he was a Brahmana. So he was a very good warrior, very, very formidable warrior, and it was very difficult for the Pandavas to get rid of him. But eventually what brought his downfall was his nature of a Brahmana. What did he do on the battlefield which was of a nature of a Brahmana that led to his death?
He was attached to his son, and
Yes.
when they said
Yes, he was
they
very
said that
attached to his
thing,
son. Yes, see, everybody is attached to their children. Even Arjuna was attached to his son Abhimanyu. But because a Brahmana does not have that heroic quality, of a Kshatriya. See, Arjuna also heard the death of his son Abhimanyu, but that made Arjuna come back with all the more force the next day of the war, and he vowed to kill Ashwadhama. No, what's his name? Was it Ashwadhama?
no,
The one who was
Jara-
responsible for keeping all the Pandavas away for a day.
Jarasandh, I think so.
Jarasandh. Yeah, I think Jarasandh. So anyway, coming to the point, Arjuna came back with all the more heroic quality the next day when his son was killed. But Dronacharya was so overwhelmed when he heard that Ashwadhama has been killed. Of course, Ashwadhama, the elephant, was killed, but he thought that his son Ashwadhama had been killed because of the half truth that Krishna told Yudhishthira to speak. So he was so overwhelmed that he immediately stopped fighting the war, and that's what led to his death. So that's what Krishna is saying. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have to act according to your nature. You have to act according to your nature. When one artificially acts against one's nature, that one will not be able to stay on it for a long time. It's not going to give you long-term results. So duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Krishna is saying here, are never affected by sinful reactions. See, Arjuna was afraid of taking sinful reactions because of killing superiors like Dronacharya and Bhishma Dev. But that's what Krishna is saying, that if you do your duty according to your nature, then you are never affected by sinful reactions. So a Kshatriya, because he is killing on a battlefield, he will not take the sinful reaction because Arjuna is killing them for actually he is going to kill because Krishna wants him to kill. So therefore there will be no sinful reactions. Krishna is saying. Just as how if somebody is working in the army, navy, or air force and his superior tells him shoot, so he shoots and he is awarded by the government, isn't it? He is not tried in a court of law. Or somebody is given a death sentence and the person who's hanging that person is only carrying out the instruction of his superior that this person has to be hanged. So he's not going to be tried in a court of law for that. So if one does his duty, then one is not affected by sinful reactions, Krishna is saying. So Krishna tells Arjuna twice, no, it's better to act according to one's own nature than according to another's nature. So what is the point of this instruction? The point of this instruction is Arjuna has a nature of a Kshatriya, no, and even if Arjuna leaves the battlefield and goes, because Arjuna said, I can live by begging, and he renounces. And even if Arjuna goes, ultimately, because he has the nature of a Kshatriya, again he will come back at a future date, and anyway, again he is going to kill, because that is his nature. He cannot act against his nature. So this is the point of Krishna's instruction. Krishna is saying that because you have the nature of a Kshatriya, even now, if you leave the battlefield and go and take renunciation and live by begging, because it's in your nature to fight, you are going to come back again and fight and kill all these people. And why he is repeating this instruction means Krishna considers the instruction important enough to restate it. Okay, let's go to 48.
Sahajam karma kaunteya sadoshamapi na tyaje sarvarambha hi doshena dhumena agnirivavritah.
Translation: Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault.
So Krishna is saying every endeavor is covered by some fault. So Brahmanas also, their work also is covered by some fault. Same to do with Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Now what can be unpleasant or what could be faulty in a Brahmana's work? The Brahmanas sometimes they have to sacrifice animals for offering them in the yajna. So which we have discussed before. In Kali Yuga, any kind of animal killing is completely prohibited. But in the previous ages, it was allowed. Because the Brahmanas would sacrifice animals and offer them in the yajna, they were so powerful that they could recite the mantras and they could bring the animal back to life. Okay, so let's not misunderstand. But coming back to the endeavor covered, every endeavor is covered by some fault. So Brahmanas, they sometimes have to kill the animals to offer them in the yajnas. Then Kshatriya, again, what is the unpleasant thing that a Kshatriya may have to do? What is the faulty thing? So the Kshatriyas have to kill on the battlefield. And in their training also, when the Kshatriyas are trained to kill, then sometimes therefore they're allowed to go hunting in the forest because it's a part of their training as a Kshatriya. So that also has some fault. Vaishyas, the business class, sometimes to get profits, they may have to speak some lies. No, so the Vaishya work also is covered with some fault. And Shudras also, maybe they have to serve a master who is not religious. Like Vidura, who was born from the womb of a maidservant, a Shudra, he had to serve a master like Dhritarashtra, who was not choosing the religious path. He was more in favor of only his own son, not so much for dharma. No, so a Shudra may sometimes have to serve a master who is not on the path of religiosity. So, like that, every endeavor is covered by some fault, Krishna is saying, and he's giving an analogy here. What is the analogy? Just as fire is covered by smoke. So, when there is fire, let's say it's very cold, and one is in the open air and one burns fire so that one can get some warmth from that fire, some light and heat. Now there will be some smoke. That smoke may irritate our eyes or cause some irritation on our skin. But then still we continue with the fire because we want the heat and the light. So like that, we cannot avoid the smoke coming from the fire. So in the same way, every endeavor, Krishna says, is covered by some fault. But still, despite that fault, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. So again, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are a Kshatriya. Your work is also full of fault. Yes, you have to kill these superiors, no, your own guru, your own grandfather. But then every endeavor is covered by some fault or the other. So you should not give up that kind of work. Now Krishna is going to go from Nishkama through liberation to devotional service. So of course in the yoga ladder, if you remember, after Karma Yoga, we had Jnana Yoga. So from Jnana Yoga, then Krishna will come to the Brahman platform and then to pure devotional service, Bhakti. Let's see, 49.
Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spruha Naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchati.
Translation: One who is self-controlled and unattached and who disregards all material enjoyments can obtain by practice of renunciation, the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction.
So here Krishna is explaining who can attain, who can practice renunciation. See this verse 49 and then 50, 51, 52, 53. These verses, these 5 verses, Krishna is talking about Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga. So who can perform Jnana Yoga? One who is self-controlled and unattached and who disregards all material enjoyments. So of course, if one has to leave home, then one has to be self-controlled, control his senses and not be thinking in the forest, or what is my family doing right now? I'm missing my wife or whatever, no, or the foods that he would eat and the comforts of his home. No, one has to be self-controlled, unattached and completely disregard all material enjoyments. So such a person can practice renunciation, Krishna is saying. So first of all, for engaging in Jnana Yoga, one should have these qualities. See, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, real renunciation means that one should always think himself part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So renunciation does not necessarily mean that one has to leave home. What is real renunciation? Prabhupada is explaining. One should always think himself part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he has no right to enjoy the results of his work. Since he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the results of his work must be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. This is actually Krishna consciousness. Of course, yeah, Prabhupada, he's talking about the highest stage. No, he's talking about Bhakti Yoga here because as a bona fide guru, as an acharya, he wants us to follow Krishna's ultimate instruction, which is Bhakti Yoga. Okay, continuing with Jnana Yoga, let's see what Krishna says.
सिद्धिं प्राप्तो यथा ब्रह्म तथाप्नोति निबोध मे समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा.
Translation: O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional state, Brahma, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize.
So Krishna now proposes to explain how he is proposing to explain how one can attain the Brahman stage of self-realization, which is the highest knowledge. So Jnana Yoga leads to Brahman realization. So that is what Krishna proposes to explain next. So 3 verses are clubbed together here.
बुद्ध्या विशुद्धया युक्तो धृत्यात्मानं नियम्य च शब्दादीन् विषयान् त्यक्त्वा रागद्वेषौ व्युदस्य च विविक्तसेवी लग्भाषी यत वाक्कायमानसः ध्यानयोगपरो नित्यं वैराग्यं समुपाश्रितः अहंकारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तो ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
Translation: being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance, and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization.
See here, 51, 52, and 53 are clubbed together. In verse 51, Krishna is describing a person who has already been purified by his work, purified by his karma, by his work, and he has progressed to the jnana stage. So for a person to be in that jnana stage, to progress to the jnana stage, he should be purified by his intelligence, be able to control his mind with determination, give up the objects of sense gratification. So this 51 verse, the initial part, is where Krishna is describing a person who has progressed from the karma to the jnana stage by his work. And then the last two verses, 52 and 53, Krishna is talking about the process of jnana yoga. So what does a jnana yogi do? He lives in a secluded place. He eats very little. He controls his body, mind, and power of speech. He is always in trance. So remember the 8 steps, the Ashtanga yoga system, which we have discussed in detail previously. So he's always in trance and he eats very less. He eats only as much as he needs to keep body and soul together. And he's living in a secluded place. So of course, he is far away from home. He has already left home. So here, Krishna is explaining the process of Jnana Yoga. He eats little, controls his body, mind, and power of speech. He's always in trance, who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things. So he's free from acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. So now Krishna is going to progress from jnana to bhakti. In this verse 54, he is going to talk about how jnana leads to bhakti. Let's see.
ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्.
Translation: One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me.
So when one progresses and perfects himself, he realizes the Supreme Brahman, Krishna says. Now after that, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So one is progressing on that yoga ladder, and then one is coming to the stage of pure devotional service. So now Krishna is going to touch upon the most important subject matter, again, bhakti yoga. So going on, he will be speaking about only bhakti yoga in the rest of the chapter. I mean, for a good number of verses, he'll be talking about bhakti yoga. But see, of course, we understand that we don't have to go through jnana yoga, dhyana yoga to reach bhakti yoga. The glory of bhakti yoga is without having to leave home, without having to leave our family, we can still attain the highest perfectional stage, realize Bhagavan, realize God as a person by doing our sadhana bhakti wherever we are situated. One may be a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. One may be a brahmacharya or a grihastha or a vanaprastha or sannyas. It does not matter. If one engages in bhakti yoga, from whatever situation one is in, one can attain the highest perfectional stage. One can realize the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. We don't have to go through that ladder. We don't have to do that. Wherever we are, immediately engage in bhakti yoga and we can go to the highest place in that yoga ladder. Okay, let's see what Krishna says next.
भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्.
One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God.
So see, Krishna is declaring that there is no other way to understand Krishna. The only way is by devotional service. See, Krishna says one can understand me as I am, as a person, because there Krishna is as a person, he's in his personal feature. He's not there as a Paramatma on the battlefield in front of Arjuna. He's not there as a Brahman effulgence. He's personally there as a person, as Bhagavan. So Krishna is saying one can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. So he's saying there is no other way other than bhakti to know Krishna. There is no other way, not jnana, not dhyana, only bhakti. Then, and when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion. So, okay, what happens? We are doing devotional service, we are doing bhakti, we are doing our sadhana. By that, what happens? What do we get? Then Krishna says he can enter into the kingdom of God. He can enter into the kingdom of God. So this is the qualification that one needs to enter into the kingdom of God, from where there is no more birth, death, disease, and old age. So now he is going to focus on working in pure devotional service. So up to verse 60, Krishna is focusing on bhakti yoga.
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्.
Translation: though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace.
So though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. So yes, we have to do our part of the deal. No, we do our duties, and Krishna then gives us protection. So God's protection comes when we engage in our spiritual duties. We have to do our bit. Not say that, oh, if God wants me to chant, I will chant. It's not like that. You have to desire it, you have to do it. Then automatically protection will come. And when the protection is there, one reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace, by Krishna's grace. So again, it's not because we qualify ourselves. No, the grace is invoked because Krishna is protecting us. And why is he protecting us? Because although we are engaged in all kinds of activities, we are still, in our mind, we are dedicated to Krishna. And all our activities are Krishna-ized. No, a pure devotee, his work, or a devotee, he Krishnaizes his activities. For example, everybody eats, we also eat, but we eat after we offer it to Krishna. Everybody sleeps, we also sleep, but we sleep with the consciousness that, okay, I want to take rest because I have to use this body in the service of Krishna. If I don't sleep, if I don't give rest to the body, then how will I use the body in the service of Krishna? So like that, we do the activities. So one is engaged in all kinds of activities, but one is a devotee. So one is Krishnaizing his devotees, his work. No? So the common thing is, activities will be there. Whether one is a devotee or a non-devotee, one is engaged in activities. So if one is a devotee, one engages in Krishna conscious activities. One is a non-devotee, one engages in sense gratificatory activities. Either you serve Krishna or you serve Maya. But serve you must. Work you must. Krishna is saying. So here you can see a person on his way back home, back to Godhead. Okay, let's go to 57.
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव.
Translation: in all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me.
So in what mood? What is the mood of a devotee? Krishna is explaining here. So what is the mood of a devotee? In all activities, just depend upon me. So in that mood, we have to perform our activities. Completely depend on Krishna. Don't think that I will do this and I will get the result. No, completely depend on Krishna's mercy. So in all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection, Krishna is saying. So when you have that mood, in such devotional service, one is fully conscious of me, Krishna is saying. So that's the reason why this movement is called as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. How can we attain that stage of being fully conscious of Krishna? That is what ISKCON is, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. See, one may ask this question. A servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss if he simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna. But when Krishna is not present, how should one act? One can say, okay, Arjuna is acting under the direction of Krishna because Krishna is personally present. But right now, Krishna is not personally present. Then how do I know how I should act?
Our mind should be there.
Let's see what Prabhupada says in the Perfect. He says, if one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. So Krishna is not personally present. I mean, Krishna is not going to ride our chariots. No, we may not be so fortunate. Arjuna is very, very fortunate that Krishna drove his chariot. But if one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book, so if one is reading, if one is performing his activities according to the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, or according to the instructions of the guidance of the representative of Krishna. Now, who is the representative of Krishna?
Arjuna.
Guru.
Guru, yes, the spiritual master. No, the spiritual master is a representative of God, because the bona fide guru will only tell you to do what Krishna says. A bona fide guru will never tell you to do anything that Krishna does not say. A bona fide guru, if a bona fide guru is telling you to do anything that is against the Shastra, then you take a U-turn and go back, because then that person is bogus. So the instruction of the bona fide guru and the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita are not different from Krishna. The result will be the same, Srila Prabhupada explains. Okay, let's see, 58.
मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि अथ चेत्त्वम् अहङ्कारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि.
Translation: If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of the conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost.
So Krishna is saying that if you work as per this verse 18.57, if you work in this consciousness, full consciousness of me, then what do you get? You will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. So if we work in Krishna consciousness, we can pass over the obstacles of conditioned life by, again, his grace. Everything happens only because of Krishna's mercy, no causeless mercy. But if we do not do so, then Krishna says that we will be lost. We will be lost again in the cycle of birth and death. Acting through false ego. What is that false ego? I am man, I am woman, I am Indian, I am American, I am rich, I am poor, I am independent, I don't believe in God. All this is false ego. What is real ego? The real ego is I am eternal servant. That's all. That is our identity. No. So when we act through real ego, that we are eternal servants of Krishna, what does a servant do? A servant serves. So one renders devotional service. So if one is in full Krishna consciousness, then one can pass over the obstacles of conditioned life. If not, then we will be lost, Krishna is saying. See, very nice article by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He says, when life's problems overwhelm, because yes, see, Krishna is saying that we can overcome obstacles, no? So this is related to that. He writes, when life's problems overwhelm us, our vision becomes distorted. We start feeling that the problems are ultra big, bigger than even Krishna. Consequently, we become so preoccupied in coping with them that our spiritual practices become distracted. So whenever there is something that is hitting us very hard materially, then it can so happen that our mind is so agitated that we get distracted from our spiritual practices. But what should we do? Gita wisdom helps us understand that resuming proper contemplation on Krishna is the first way to deal with any problem. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that if we become conscious of him, he will, by his grace, help us cross over all problems. He is far bigger than any problem. So Krishna is far bigger than any problem we can possibly have. For him, solving our biggest problem is no big deal. He can empower us to tackle or transcend it by one moment of illumination. So let me not tell Krishna how big my problems are. Let me tell my problems how big Krishna is. This is Krishna's teaching from the Bhagavad Gita. Let's see 59.
यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति.
Translation: If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare.
So Krishna is saying Arjuna that if you do not fight according to my direction, because Krishna's direction to Arjuna is what to fight. And he's saying that if you do not fight now according to my direction, then you will be falsely directed. Then he will be losing his way. What is Krishna saying? By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. So he's saying that your nature is of a Kshatriya. So that will manifest, that nature of yours will manifest in the future. And anyway, you will come back and again you will be engaged in warfare. Again, you will be engaged in fighting only because it is your nature. No? So this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna, that you're a Kshatriya, your nature is to fight. Don't falsely renounce the world and go to the forest and live by begging, which Arjuna proposed to do in the first chapter. See, one may ask this question again. Whether or not Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, he will fight. Why then, chapter after chapter, has Krishna pushed Arjuna to fight? So what is the meaning of this? Anyway, he will fight means what? Because Krishna is saying here that his nature of a Kshatriya will be manifest, and anyway he will be engaged in warfare. So if anyway Arjuna is going to be engaged in warfare, if anyway he is going to fight, then why chapter after chapter Krishna has pushed Arjuna to fight? What was the necessity of Krishna's offering numerous instructions? Let us see the answer. Okay, because we have the answer from bona fide sources. Let's not, what do you call it? Okay, anyway, let's read the answer. Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight in the proper consciousness, in Krishna consciousness. So this is the answer to this question. So Arjuna would fight anyway because that's his nature as a Kshatriya, he will fight anyway. But what Krishna wants, Krishna doesn't want Arjuna to only fight. He wants him to fight in the proper consciousness, in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he told Arjuna to surrender unto him and fight on his order with devotion. Do it, Krishna explained, because I have already killed Bhishma, Karna, Drona, all these warriors. So Krishna told Arjuna before the war began itself that he has already killed Bhishma, Karna, and Drona, all these warriors. So only Arjuna has to fight and act as an instrument, no? Just act as an instrument and execute Krishna's instructions, and Arjuna can take all the glory. It's not that Arjuna is looking for glory, but the doer, no, the one who sanctions is Krishna. It's just that Krishna likes to give credit to us, to his devotees. So the armies have already been defeated and the battle has already been won. Krishna does not require Arjuna's martial skill for victory, but he wants Arjuna to act with devotion as his instrument. Arjuna's devotion will be expressed by fighting on the battlefield. So this is what Krishna wants. Krishna wants Arjuna to fight in Krishna consciousness. Because fight he will anyway because he is a Kshatriya. But Krishna wanted him to fight in Krishna consciousness. This is what Krishna wanted for Arjuna. Okay, let's go to 60.
स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहान् करिष्यस्य वशोऽपिता.
Translation: under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti.
So under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are actually under illusion. No, that's why you are declining to fight the war, which is my instruction to you. But compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same. So again, Krishna repeats that anyway you will fight, no, because you will be compelled by the work born of your own nature. So Krishna is saying Krishna continues to instruct Arjuna and all conditioned souls to act according to Krishna's instructions and according to one's own nature. So it doesn't matter who we are. We just execute Krishna's instructions. Doesn't matter whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whether one is a Grihastha or a Brahmachari or Shudra or Vaishya. Just execute Krishna's order. Do your work according to your nature and you can attain perfection. So, So be humble or be humble. So one must be humble and simply execute the instruction of Guru and Krishna. If we are not humble and execute the instruction of Guru and Krishna, and we are acting out of false ego, then Maya, then we are going to act according to the instruction of Maya. No, and Maya, she does her service to perfection. She will lure us, but ultimately it is only pain that she is going to bring us. No, she will tempt us and lure us away from Krishna, but ultimately we are only get suffering. So then we will be humbled by the circumstances. We will be humbled by Maya. So either we be humble, take a subordinate position, execute the instruction of Guru and Krishna, otherwise we will be humbled by Maya. So this is the progression, the gradual way from karma to jnana to moksha. Then Krishna spoke about the bhakti, which is a rapid way. So as we discussed, we don't have to go through karma, jnana, moksha. We don't have to go through dhyana yoga. We don't have to go through these different yoga systems to come to the level of bhakti. The rapid way is bhakti. So if you want to climb a 100-floor building, you can take the staircase or you can take the elevator. If I have to make a choice, I will take the elevator. So bhakti is the rapid way. This means a few more quadrillion lifetimes. No, not much, just a few more quadrillion lifetimes. Bhakti can take you back home, back to Godhead at the end of this lifetime itself. At the end of this lifetime itself. So if you don't follow either, neither the gradual way nor the rapid way, then one will be lost. Then one is acting according to the dictates of Maya. And so this is how Krishna concludes this section. We will continue with section 7 in the next class if Krishna so sanctions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Do we have any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji, when is the last date due to the submission of the test?
29.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam to you. Jai Pataka Anant Koti Dandavat Pranam to Vajay Jai Pataka Maharaj. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam to your respected Ma Papa. Thank you, Mataji, for your deep devotional association. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji, for your deep association. Thank you for joining us, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So if like all the exams have to be done before the 29th of October?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
all the exams, all pending chapters, you have time till 20th of November.
Oh, 20th of November. Okay.
Yeah, 20th November. By 20th November, all 18 chapters, if they are submitted, then you can get your board certificate.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks.
But this test is like 29th. It's due on 29th, correct? This very test.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
You said next course will be 3 years.
Oh,
Which book?
yes.
Oh.
What's that? Krishna book. There's a
Krishna
book called Krishna book. Yeah, it is a commentary of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, written by Srila Prabhupada. And it deals with the pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, right? Starting from his appearance and then all his Bal Leelas and adulthood, all will go in that sequence. So if you can purchase the Krishna book, but we will start this in sometime in March or probably the first week of April. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
So what we will do is we will have, after we finish this Bhagavad Gita class, we can have some one-off classes, one-off sessions till the month of December. And then January, February, there will be no classes because I'm traveling. So there will be no classes Jan and Feb. And then end of March or first week of April, we can start with a new course. We'll be doing Krishna book. I will share a photo of that book in the group and you can purchase your copies and you can have them with you. So it will be useful for you for the next course.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else we need to discuss?
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Mataji, after this 18th, finishing the 18th chapter, what did you say we'll be doing it till December?
We'll do some one-off courses in the sense that we will pick a topic and we will just discuss that particular topic in one class. Which means, for example, one topic would be Ekadasi. So why to follow Ekadasi? What's the scriptural importance of it? What is the scientific understanding of Ekadasi? How to follow Ekadasi, like that. So it'll be one class, only one topic, like that. Till December, we can do like that. And then we will start the course in March or April.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yes, and you can also invite your contacts for these classes, because it's not a series of continuity that they need to know the before and after. So you can invite your friends and they can also join such classes. Till December we will do that.
Okay. And Mataji, since I joined these classes in the middle, how do I start from chapter 1? On YouTube, is it still there?
Yes. On YouTube we have the recordings starting from class 1, which was over, I think, more than 18 months ago. I will send you the link.
Yeah, that would be lovely, because
Okay.
I wanted to start with your class from chapter 1, no?
Okay.
So can you please send me the link? Will it be in my private or in the same?
I can send it to you privately, and I'll share it in the group also for everybody's benefit in case.
Okay. Oh, lovely. Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else we need to discuss?
Mataji, Shishi Govardhan Puja is coming. 2 minutes. Please explain everybody.
Oh, Govardhan Puja. Yes, Krishna was 7 years old when he lifted the Govardhan hill on the little finger of his left hand for 7 continuous days and 7 continuous nights to protect the residents of Vrindavan. And he gave a crash course on humility to Indradev, because sometimes what happens, the demigods, they forget, the devatas, they forget that Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. And Indra thought that Krishna is just an ordinary 7-year-old boy, but then Krishna showed his Godhead, in that pastime. He showed how he's a supreme personality. And he lifted the Govardhan. And Govardhan is non-different from Krishna. That's why when devotees go to Sri Vrindavan Dham, they do the Govardhan Parikrama. Many people go walking. And the sand in Govardhan is very, very fine, like talcum powder it is. Because there's this pastime when Krishna was to go, when Krishna took his cows for herding for the first time, because initially Krishna was only taking the calves and very close to his home. He would not go out with the cows. But when Krishna was given that responsibility later, Mother Yashoda made some shoes for Krishna so that his lotus feet, his soft feet, are not hurt by the stones on the road. So Krishna said, but I want such shoes for all the cows also. So Mother Yashoda said, but I cannot make so many shoes because Nanda Maharaj had 900,000 cows. So she said, I have made only one pair for you. I cannot make so many shoes. So then Krishna said, but then if the cows will go barefoot, then even I want to go barefoot. I will also go barefoot. I don't want to go with shoes. So that time the cow said, oh, our dear Krishna will go without any shoes. So they went at night and they pulverized the stones and the sand and they made it very, very soft, like talcum powder. So even now, if you go in that Govardhan area, the sand is very soft, like talcum powder. So we can do one class on Govardhan Leela maybe if after we finish this Bhagavad Gita class, and we can see more details of this particular Leela. Let's see what Krishna sang. We don't know yet, so let's see how it goes. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then we will see you all in the next class if Krishna so sanctions. Till then, have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. I hope all of you are lighting the Damodar lamps, ghee lamps. Please do not miss the opportunity. Very, very potent, very, very powerful month. With very little devotional service, you can get unlimited benefits. So much benefit that we cannot even imagine how much our spiritual bank balance will be credited if we offer ghee lamps to Lord Damodar, recite the Damodar Ashtakam, chant our rounds, perform sadhana bhakti in this most auspicious month of Damodar. In fact, actually, after we finish this course, we should do a class on Damodar Leela first. That's the first thing that we should ideally do. I think we would still be in the month of Damodar. So we can do one class on Damodar Leela and then we can proceed to other topics. Okay. All right, then. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you.
Mataji, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Can we like the ghee lamp if other people don't want to do it at home? Can we do them? Can we do for them or no?
Yes, you can do. Yeah, ideally, each one should light their own ghee lamps. But if somebody is very stubborn and you want to be merciful to them, then you can light the lamp and offer the credit. You have to say it, my dear Lord Krishna. I offer the benefit of lighting this ghee lamp too. Then you mention the name of the person. So you have to say it and dedicate it, and the person can get benefited as well. Yes, you can.
Okay. Thank you.
Mataji, one more thing. The tulsi lighting the cotton and ghee and offering it to Krishna. That's done in some Puran. I think I forgot the name of the Puran. Is there any way that we can get a quote that should be done? It's written in some Puran. I forgot the name of the Padma Puran or something like that.
Okay, yeah, even I have read it that if one uses tulsi sticks to light the ghee lamp, then the benefit is multiplied by 1,000 times. So, but the tulsi should
I
have
need to
left
show
her
it to
body.
somebody.
Yeah, but the tulsi should have left her body naturally. No, not that somebody has a plant at home and one is plucking the stems. No, the of a tulsi that has left her body
Yeah.
naturally, only those
Yeah, like
sticks
in
we can use. Okay, yeah, I will look up for the code, but not today. On Monday maybe, because I have a program this evening.
I want to show you. I want to show you. What about this? Is this left the body?
Tulsi who has left the body,
One
she is not fresh. She has dried out.
This is okay.
Yeah, it seems okay from here. It's dry, right?
Completely dried.
Yeah, completely dry.
I'm
Yes, yes,
getting
yes,
it
yes, you
out.
can. Yes, you can.
I have so many of them. 1 second. Completely dried out. Completely. It's like a
Yeah.
wood.
Yes, you can use it. Yes.
Okay. So now all I need is a quote to show to the person. So
Okay,
I'll be
but I can
waiting
send it
for
to you on
your
Monday because I don't have the time this weekend. I'm a little back. Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. I will also share the course material and other things on Monday. Okay. But I will share the playlist of all the classes right away post the class. Okay. Anything else? All right then. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.